Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our Sullivan Scott selections here for Saturday, May 15th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We pick up a loss in baseball with the Cleveland Indians on the money line at minus 118 on FanDuel. Ended up fading a team that lost 5 in a row. And then Seattle remembered how to play baseball. Really wasn't close. Savali struggled early. Seattle jumped on him. And then Seattle ended up extending the lead against Cleveland's bullpen. But either way, it happens in baseball. And we'll look for a bounce back winner here on Saturday. And for the play of the day, we're going to go into the NBA. Now, I know the NBA right now is pretty dicey because of the fact that you don't really know who's playing in any of these games during the last couple of days of the regular season, which is really annoying if you want to bet on it, and even more annoying for fans if you want to potentially go to some games you don't know who's going to play. But there is one game I do want to talk about, and it is going to be between the Lakers and the Pacers, taking place at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And for this one, we're going to be doing something different, something we have not done on the show before. We are not going to be taking a spread, and we're not going to be taking a total. Now, the spread in this one is Lakers roughly 6.5 favorites in that spot. However, Lakers have been pretty good lately, but they have not been great at covering, so I'm not going to touch that. Instead, we're going to be taking a prop. It's going to be on the Lakers halftime and full time. The best line currently available is minus 128 on Fox Bet. Time recording of 2:33 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you're not familiar with what that bet is, it means that the Lakers have to be winning at halftime, and then they have to win the game. So it's a two-part bet. If both those happen, you end up getting a nice winner at minus 128. And if the Lakers are losing at halftime and they end up losing or end up winning the full game, then you end up losing your bet. But there are a couple reasons why I do like the Lakers on that specific prop. A couple reasons. First of all, Lakers have been the better team all season long, 40-30 overall, 19-15 on the road. Meanwhile, the Pacers are 33-37, but they are only 13-22 at home. So they've been really awful in their own home arena. They look at the Lakers, 3-game winning streak, ended up beating the Suns, the Knicks, and the Rockets, but the Lakers are only 1-2 ATS during those games, so I don't exactly want to lay 6.5 with the Lakers here. But if you want to talk about motivation, which has been an issue for a lot of teams over the last couple of days, the Lakers are one of the only teams that still have something to play for that's extremely significant because the Lakers are currently competing with the Trailblazers for the 6th seed in the Western Conference, which is the last, let's call it a safety spot to avoid the play-in tournament that the NBA installed for this season. Now, they're half game back with 2 games left for Los Angeles. Portland only has 1 game. So if you're doing the math at home, that means if Portland ends up beating Denver in the finale, then Portland will end up getting the 6th seed by default because Portland does have the tiebreaker. Now, I'm not going to try to speculate if Jokic is going to play, if Porter Jr. are going to play in that season finale. That's going to be on Sunday, so I'm not going to bother reading into that. But the Lakers need to win these 2 games if they want to have any shot of potentially avoiding the play-in tournament. So Lakers should be very motivated. Meanwhile, Indiana is technically fighting for some seeding. They are currently listed in the 9 spot in the East. However, they're only half a game ahead of Washington, and they are tied with Charlotte for the 8th seed. But, of course, they are still going to be losing the tiebreaker to both those teams. They're not exactly in a great spot, and you saw Indiana end up resting LeVert in their last game against Milwaukee. Now, this is where this game is a potential landmine, which is why I don't exactly want to lay 6.5. Both teams could be missing a lot of guys. I think it's more likely Indiana's going to be missing more people than the Lakers. But I'm going to go through the injury report, so get your popcorn ready because it's going to be a lot of names. You got Brogdon, Turner, Lamb, and Sumner for Indiana. They're all out. LeVert, Sabonis, and Aaron Holiday are all questionable. Realistically, probably not going to play. LeVert didn't play last game. Sabonis now has an injury as well. Aaron Holiday is also questionable. I don't think any of them are playing. So Indiana could really be running their D squad in this spot, kind of like what we saw from Memphis yesterday, for example. And meanwhile, the Lakers have Anthony Davis, who's questionable. LeBron is questionable. Caruso is questionable. And Schroeder, who actually is coming back from COVID protocol, but they are not officially sure if he's going to play, but he's technically available according to the Lakers coaching staff. Now, am I going to assume LeBron's going to play? No. I have no idea if LeBron's going to play or not. He was supposed to come back earlier this week, delayed it past, the last couple of days. But the point is that the Lakers, if they really want to have any shot of avoiding a play-in tournament, which they probably should, because that would involve more games for LeBron and AD to play when they, of course, have been injured all year long, I expect that at least one of the two to play. I think AD is going to play because he has played for the last couple of games, even though he has not really looked 100%. but he's still been pretty effective. LeBron, who knows? But Schroeder, maybe he'll play. But the point is the Lakers have still been playing well with their backups, and Indiana might be going into a full, I don't want to say tank job because they're not exactly tanking, but it seems like they might just take the day off. Because if you're throwing out, say, 7 of their key contributors, this is going to be basically a G League roster. And I think the Lakers should win the game, and I think they should be leading at halftime. Now, of course, I could just be overthinking it, and the Lakers could blow them out in the first half and then end up covering the full game spread onto the, at the end of 48 minutes. But at the end of the day, I think if the Lakers are going to be winning at halftime by a lot, then obviously they're going to end up winning the full game. So I think there's a good chance the Lakers are going to end up leading at halftime against Indiana's shorthanded roster, and a good chance the Lakers win the game outright. I'm sure a lot of people like the Lakers, and a 6.5-point favorites is definitely reasonable, but I do think it's a good price at the current number because of the injury reports for the Pacers. But the play that I once again here for Saturday, May 15th, is going to be on the Lakers halftime and full time, minus 128 on Fox Bet. Bye, everyone.